Welcome to Crossbody of Work. My name is Evan.
I am Javier.
It's jarring sometimes when I think to myself how different my radio voice is to my normal speaking voice.
Yeah,
Like
you locked in.
I lock in. I really do. It's
It's a little I didn't now that you mention it because we were
yeah,
literally just talking for
just
the last
talking before we
15
started.
minutes. Just
Yeah.
like a normal back and forth conversation, catching up, as we do. And then you just you did the clap that you do before each
Yeah.
episode starts, and I swear to God, that's like your trigger. Like you have some sort of hypnosis on, and your voice just immediately changed. So, hello, America.
Yeah, at least I don't lock into a news reporter hello, welcome to Crossbody of Work. My name's Evan. If you've never listened to the show before, we cover a wrestler through 5 of their most important matches, and we're in the middle of Hoss Month. Yeah, we're covering Big Boss Man today because it's Hoss Month.
And I'm just here good morning, Vietnam.
I love that movie so much. So Hoss Month rolls on. Big Boss Man this week. What do you know about the man named Ray Traylor Jr.?
He's big. He's a cop, so he's an op.
He's a corrections officer.
Even worse, he's an op. And then he went by Big Bubba. He likes to hit people with sticks. He likes to. He had a really weird phase there for 2 years where he just became kind of psychotic for some reason.
Oh yeah, WWF was like, you know what? You can be the most evil man on the planet.
Just it wasn't even evil. It was just psychotic.
Yeah.
This man would be in a mental institution, not behind bars.
Yeah, he's a Batman villain. Ray Traylor, let's check his credentials for Hoss Month. This man billed at 6'7", 330 pounds.
Yeah, that there's no sugarcoating that one.
Jack.
Honestly, I should have taken a guess there. I would have guessed. I probably would have guessed 6'7", and I don't know if I would have gone that high up. I probably would have said something like
300. Yeah,
something like 290.
So as you mentioned, Ray Traylor, a former corrections officer in Cobb County, Georgia. That is a shoot. That's what he did before wrestling. He debuted in 1985, began working as a jobber in Jim Crockett Promotions under his real name of Ray Traylor. During this time, he faced the likes of Tully Blanchard, the Barbarian, Ivan Koloff, the Midnight Express, the Road Warriors, Wahoo McDaniel, and Dusty Rhodes, who was the lead booker, saw potential in Traylor and so pulled him off TV for 12 weeks to repackage him as Big Bubba Rogers. And so that's kind of what they did. He was like, you know what, this guy's too good. Let's take him out for a little bit, and then we'll bring him back with a new gimmick and let him kind of actually have a storyline and do some things. So he immediately kind of got put into a better place on the card. Dusty saw something in him, and you know what? Dusty was right. He's a good worker.
Yeah. It's weird. You don't really see jobbers of that size, especially starting out. It's one thing when
that's
people
a tough jobber.
It's one thing when people become a jobber. There are plenty of
the Brodus Clays of the world.
Yeah, the Brodus Clays, the Tenzais, they became jobbers.
Anyone with a dancing gimmick.
Not even just that. For the most part, Baron Corbin doesn't really win matches these days.
Our boy Mabel. Our boy Mabel.
Yeah, Mabel. Mark Henry became a jobber.
For
Big Show
stretches,
kind of was a feeder to the stars as well for a while there.
Big Show always felt like a gatekeeper. If you were an up and coming guy, you were gonna have a Big Show feud at some point.
Yeah, it was Natalia.
Yes, he was Natalia.
He's Natalia. And so it's one of those things where you never really see them start out that way though. They usually get the initial push. So for you to just say he was a jobber in Mid-South, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
This is 6'7", 300, and he was a big boy at this stage, so I don't doubt that he was more than that 330.
When he became Big Bubba, he became a bodyguard for Jim Cornette, who, along with the Midnight Express, was feuding with both Dusty Rhodes and Magnum TA. Our first match is from September 1986. It's a 6-man tag. It's Big Bubba teaming with the Midnight Express against Dusty Rhodes and the Rock and Roll Express in a bunkhouse brawl. And for those of you who don't know what a bunkhouse brawl is, it just means it's a no DQ match.
Yes, it's a bunkhouse brawl, baby.
Oh, baby, we're gonna brawl in the bunkhouse. Crowd hot as hell.
Yes, mostly for the baby faces, obviously.
And Big Bubba, not in his correctional officer's gear. He's in a correctional officer off-duty gear. He's he's got longer hair. He's got the slacks on, and he's got the wife pleaser and some suspenders on.
He's got that open shirt going.
Yeah,
this man loves an open shirt. It's kind of interesting.
Hey, man. the bigger guy playbook is to do the open shirt.
Is
it changes
it?
Absolutely. It changes your silhouette a little bit.
You remember from the Water Boy, the coach you couldn't understand who kept rubbing his nipples?
Yeah.
It just kind of ended up looking like that guy. I don't know. Listen, not many individuals I could think of that I'd want to be less than him, you know?
True. That's a tough it's a tough lot in life. It's like Rob Schneider's below him, and other than that, that's about it.
That's Deuce Bigelow, man.
The European gigolo.
Big Bubba is throwing me off here, mostly because honestly, this entire match was throwing me off here because there's a green ring.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
This is the Boise State of wrestling rings. My
thing is rings have to be two colors. You know, you got your white or your off-whites. WWE sometimes likes to go with a little off-white. Sometimes it's like a little light gray or what is it? Slate, whatever that would be.
Slate is right.
And we get black, you know, your traditional Ring of Honor black ring or whatever. Yeah. As you know, modernization happened, they kind of moved away from the black ring, but that was also still a thing. You know, you're one or the other. Don't give me a green. Don't give me a red, nor blue, nor yellow, nor whatever. You know,
green is reserved for All Japan Wrestling randomly in the 90s. Noah, that's what it was. Noah in the 90s randomly had a green ring for a while, and that was fine.
They like to run a yellow ring sometimes too,
but also they had the ads which broke it up, which I think was actually better.
Right here, it don't look right. All right, there's no reason why this goddamn Chaos Emerald colored ring should be out here cooking.
Green Lantern ass looking ring. Now, this match is from 1986, like I said, which means that the video footage of this match makes it difficult to discern which member of the Rock and Roll Express and or Midnight Express is in the ring.
Well, no, I can tell the difference between Ricky and Robert. One is blonde and
easy.
One is brunette.
But oh my God, the Midnight Express, Dennis Condrey and Beautiful Bobby, it's so hard to tell them apart in terms of once you know, Condrey's in the American flag shirt. Once you've gotten that, you're like,
Bobby's in the red shirt.
Yeah.
That's all I know. Bobby was in the red shirt. That's how I pretty much was able to tell it apart.
What did you think of Big Bubba in this match? Let's focus on him.
There's not a whole lot of him in this match. They like Robert starts cooking early with Condrey. Dusty tags in, and at the same time, so does Big Bubba. And Dusty's just there chatting shit. He's like, "Ooh, brother. Ooh, stop. Slow down now, brother. Slow down now, baby."
The way that idiots nowadays would say that Dusty is zesty, and I'm just like, 'cause he's cooler than you. Like,
Dusty is the definition of servant cunt. Just the purest of definitions.
Oh, baby, it's a Brat Thumber, and you know Dusty Rhodes love a Brat Thumber. Dusty love a Brat Thumber, and he love a Brat Thumber.
I'm telling you right now, you take Hot Girl Summer from a few years back, Dusty would have been the poster child. You take Brat Summer from right now, Charlie XCX.
Yeah.
Give me Dusty Rhodes on the cover of that.
Dusty XCX.
He's Brat.
In comes Beautiful Bobby instead, so they don't actually face off. Like, they don't actually do anything really at the beginning. Big Bubba, we take a break. There's a commercial break. When we get back, Bubba has Dusty in a bear hug. And again, Hoss Month is the exception for bear hugs because these people are all big enough to do them.
Listen, Dusty, I will always say a bear hug is a dumb move unless a motherfucker is massive.
Yeah, if you can like lift someone clean off of the ground and do your bear hug, I don't understand the people who are doing the standing bear hug.
Like, do I want, Will Ospreay doing this to MJF? No, I don't want that because that doesn't make any sense. But like, if Odyssey Jones is doing it to like Chad Gable, I'm all right with that.
Yeah. We get a spot where Ricky Morton comes back into the ring and he gets blinded with powder. Things break down. Bubba gets tossed to the outside by Dusty. There's a chain shot to Morton by the Midnight Express. And I think a screwdriver to the eye of Beautiful Bobby.
I'm going to tell you right now, I couldn't tell what the hell is going on. Again, people, the quality of this isn't great. We're just here to have a good time at this point. We're just here to have a good time and try to figure out what the hell is going on. And we don't, but we try.
But we get the ending. There's a double drop kick to Bubba. Bubba then goes to the top rope. Dusty tosses him off the top rope, hits him with one of the most delayed pile drivers that I've ever seen.
Honestly,
he mugs to hard cams that don't exist.
Incredible job by Dusty to keep him up, by the way.
And then
Dusty's got that strength.
He hits a pile driver that kind of like, he puts one ass cheek down before the other, which kind of negates the power of the pile driver.
Whoa. What makes you think he doesn't just have off-kiltered butt cheeks? There are people out there with one cheek more than the other. Maybe Dusty's one of them.
Dusty's only single cheeked up.
Makes it hard for him to buy some pants, but hey.
He gets the 3 count over Bubba Rogers, and I know people
Bubba does the Hogan kick out.
He does the 3.111.
Yeah, he does the Hogan kick out. Like, that was insane. His shoulder was up. Like, as soon as the ref's hand hit down, that shoulder went up.
In terms of the bunkhouse brawl matches, him and Dusty Rhodes actually tied in the number of matches they had where they both won. So I think it was either 2-2 or 3-3. So they had a tie-breaking cage match, which Dusty won because it's his territory, dog. He would have Bubba would have another good match against Ron Garvin in a Louisville street fight at Starrcade 86. He'd have a cup of coffee with the Universal Wrestling Federation in 87, including being known as the War Machine in the second War Games match, which is very cool. I believe
that was him.
We have covered that match. Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I believe we covered that in the Nikita Koloff episode we did.
Probably. We covered like 4 War Games matches at this point.
Sure, we have. He did a tour of All Japan in 88, in March of 88, and then would make his way to the WWF as the Big Boss Man, a character, of course, inspired by his career as a corrections officer. He was a heel. He was managed by Slick, and his post-match routine often involved handcuffing and defeating his defeated opponents to the ring and beating them with the nightstick or a ball and chain.
I kind of respect that. I can't lie.
His first ever big feud was with the top guy. It was with Hulk Hogan. So he beat Koko Beware in the inaugural SummerSlam. So he had a match against Koko Beware there and beat him. Then he challenged Randy Savage for the WWF Championship and formed a team with Akeem known as the Twin Towers. They feuded with the Mega Powers, and they were a part of the thing that turned Savage on Hogan. It was the Twin Towers that they were facing when Hogan abandoned Savage to attend to the hurt Miss Elizabeth.
Oh, yeah. We covered that, didn't we?
We did. Yeah, in the Savage episode.
Oh, shit. I forgot about that.
Which, if you're wondering, is episode 3 of the podcast.
Yeah, you gotta go all the way back.
We covered it in February of 2020, a time when famously nothing important would happen soon after. After Savage tagged Hogan in, he slapped Hogan, left him to defeat the Twin Towers on his own. And then the Twin Towers defeated the Rockers at WrestleMania 5. And then Traylor would move into this feud with Hogan over the WWF Championship in April of 89. That is where our next match is. It's a steel cage match from Saturday night's main event 21, April 25th, 1989. It's versus Hogan for the world title.
Big blue cage alert.
I love the big blue cage. I also want to make sure everyone knows that if you listen to Hulk Hogan's theme on 1.5 speed, it's so good.
I was watching this shit on 2.0 speed, so...
Dude, 1.5 speed Real American, that's the type of energy...
a real American.
Yeah, that's the type of speed we need now. Yeah. It hits.
Hogan is probably like 34 or some shit right here, and dude looks like he's 59.
How old was Hulk Hogan in 1989?
Like, Hulk Hogan right here looks older than my father does right now, and my father's 63.
Hulk Hogan in 1989 would be turning 36 later that year.
That's crazy. Like, just look at the people now who are older. Like, Seth Rollins now is older than
Finn Balor's 40
Roman Reigns now is older than that. Finn Balor's 40-something. Randy Orton's like 46.
Yeah.
Now.
And yoked all hell.
And looks way better. Like, not even just like I'm not even discount, like, just here up.
Yeah.
This dude looks like he's 59. He looks like he's ready to go. He's like the manager at a Home Depot who's just waiting for his pension to fully kick in.
Yeah, they didn't have skincare yet in the 80s. Hogan with a very...
tanning himself to hell, and he was
Hogan with a very heel move to start the match, which is choking Bossman from behind with his own shirt.
He does that with everyone, though. It's so annoying.
Well, we've talked about this. The fact that Hulk Hogan is obviously, fuck Hulk Hogan. But we've talked about how Hulk Hogan is a heel. His whole character is being a dick.
He is a heel masquerading as a babyface. He always has been.
Yes.
He chokes Bossman with his shirt. He starts whipping him post to post. Hits a big boot, a suplex, which was interesting. Didn't think that was going to happen.
No.
And then Bossman just gets up at some point, just starts in some clubbing blows. He took too long leaving the ring at one point. Hogan, he got onto the other side of the cage and started climbing down. Hogan, races up, catches it, gets face to face with him through the other side of the cage, and just chokes him and kind of drags him up, which was interesting.
I would like Big Boss Man to acknowledge the fact that, hey man, if you just drop 7 feet right now, you get to be the world champion.
Also, he has to think, just let go.
Just let go.
Hogan's not holding you up through the cage.
Just let go. Land on Slick. Fuck him. Just land on Slick. He's your manager.
Sure
he'll take it for you.
I'm sure he'll understand.
Because now he's managing the world champion. It's not, not good thinking.
Hogan superplexes him off the cage onto that hard-ass fucking ring.
The spot was actually really good.
It was. It looked good.
It looked really good.
Honestly, not a whole lot of rotation there, so somebody landed on their head. I think it might have actually been Hogan. He over-rotated.
Yeah. It was actually a really good spot, and I wish it wasn't.
It was a good spot.
Yeah.
It's a good spot. I'm not going to discount that. It's a good spot, but it's wholly unsafe because, as we know, famously, Vince McMahon did not give a shit about the rings. They were as hard as fucking cement up until, honestly, through the Attitude Era, probably. Yeah. And it's unreal that this spot would occur where two guys that were basically 300 plus pounds would do this, land on that fucking, oh my god, I can't even imagine. This it's the worst. You literally could not pay me enough money to do a bump just myself,
on an 80s ring
onto an 80s ring, onto an 80s WWF ring. Yeah, you couldn't pay me enough.
It's a bad time. Bossman decides to return the heel tactics that Hogan used earlier and has a chain and starts choking out Hogan. Hogan starts to fight back, blocks Bossman, running him into the cage, runs Bossman in instead, hits a scoop slam, gets the chain, clocks Bossman with it. Bossman had a small cut above his eye before that. Afterwards, the cut is significantly bigger, and he is bleeding a not insignificant amount.
Hogan bites his head.
He does. He tries to eat him. Runs him into the cage 4 times, hits the leg drop, and then Slick is a good manager.
Yeah. Hey, man. People hate on Slick. I know he's
I don't know why.
I know he's a C-tier manager or whatever during this era of wrestling, but Slick is still that motherfucker.
Slick is trying. He's putting effort in, and I appreciate that. There have been
some very bad managers in wrestling.
Who's your least favorite manager in wrestling?
Oh,
least favorite manager,
Bob Backlund. What the fuck was he doing with Darren Young then?
Yeah, man? Now there's sad news about Bob Backlund, but I don't know if you heard
yes, I do now that you bring it up again. I do know that, but listen, man, we're talking about something that happened 8 years ago.
That's true. So. Yes. For those who don't know, Bob Backlund recently apparently diagnosed with dementia. So really sad.
Yeah. Which is unfortunate.
Yeah, no, not a great manager.
Wish nothing but the best, but it was.
Who's a bad manager? Tamina. When Tamina was managing the Usos.
God, yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't
help anybody well at all. Cherry, she was not. All right.
Oh, so Slick comes disrespect to Cherry.
No, I said Cherry was good. Tamina was not Cherry because she was bad. Yeah, you got it now. He grabs Hogan by the leg as Hogan's trying to escape. Bossman climbs up. Hogan punches him, and he gets crushed on the rope. Hogan then handcuffs Bossman to the cage near the door. Hogan climbs over and drops out before Slick can uncuff Bossman as he was crawling out of the cage. And I have a question for you. Bossman could have just extended his legs, right?
Well, he has to fully leave the cage.
Still 2 feet on the ground is the rule that I think is more important.
I think. Listen, I understand that, but I feel like you have to leave the cage.
So all parts of your body must be outside the blue cage.
Well, you're not escaping the cage at that point if you don't.
I guess that's right, but
you don't leave out your door and then leave your hand in.
Well, yeah, but also there's not usually people who've handcuffed me inside.
Yeah, but come on, man.
So Hogan gets out first. Obviously, he retains the WWF Championship, or else Bossman's career would be very different if he was suddenly WWF champion in
Would it
1989.
be?
Hogan then gets even more juice by tossing Slick into the cage. Slick, for his credit, takes a bump off his face when he gets run into the cage. So kudos to him. Oh, it's a fine match. It's a good Saturday night main event.
You know what? It had the best spot of any match we'll cover.
It did. We're gonna take
the best I can do for it.
We're gonna take a break. When we get back, we've got Big Boss Man versus Nails. Back from the brace, Big Boss Man turned face February 24th, 1990, on an episode of Superstars. He turned face on Ted DiBiase, which is where most people turn face, is on that $1 million asshole. As a face, he adopted a new entrance theme called Hard Times. That was performed by the lead singer of Survivor. That's cool. Yeah, that was neat. In 92, he starts feuding with a convict named Nails, an ex-convict character who, in a series of promo aired before his debut, claimed that Bossman had been his abusive officer in prison and warned he was seeking revenge.
You know what? Nails was the babyface in this.
Yeah, he was. It's a shame he was bad.
Was he? What did he do?
Nails?
How did he get into prison?
No, not the character. I meant as a wrestler. Nails is.
I'm talking about kayfabe. We're kayfabing,
brother. It's SummerSlam 92. It's Bossman versus Nails.
Wait. Let's dissect that a little bit. Is he bad? I mean, he choked out Vince McMahon.
No. Like, as a wrestler, he's bad.
Oh. Well, again, even in kayfabe, what did he go to prison for? Was he, like, brutally assaulting people, or did he just, like, not pay his parking tickets?
We don't know. It's
exactly.
Up to us to decide.
Listen, man, did he randomly get how do we know that Bossman didn't plant some weed in his car?
Because Bossman's a correctional officer. He doesn't go out and arrest people.
Doesn't mean he couldn't place the weed in the car.
He has no jurisdiction outside the prison.
I'm not saying he was the arresting officer. I'm saying he planted the weed, man.
How would he do that? Okay.
Put the weed in the car.
He has no reason to be near the car. He wouldn't interact with him.
He has no reason to be an asshole, but yet he is.
I like that you've taken kayfabe and now you're trying to break my brain by being like, yes, it's somehow Bossman's fault, even though the only way that they interacted was because he was an asshole guard in prison. I'm saying he could extend his stay in prison by continuing to be shitty and maybe planting stuff on him in prison.
I got from this conversation is that Nails got a little bit of some tax fraud, went to prison for some blue collar or for some white collar crimes that didn't affect anyone other than himself and the IRS. And for some reason, Big Boss Man decided to abuse him, and he just wants to get his lick back.
Nails is a tax evader. You're right. Except
this is a model.
Nails is a tax evader because he looks like someone who doesn't understand how taxes work.
Maybe he just didn't report his second savings account.
Look at this man. He does not have a second savings account. The second savings account is the other piggy bank he has in his house. Now, we're delaying because this match fucking blows.
Oh, this is terrible.
This match sucks. So let's continue delaying. Nails. What do you know about Nails? The wrestler, the character, the man, the myth, the legend.
Was a man that got abused by Big Boss Man in prison and now wants to get his lick back. And they have this match. And then he wants his pay-per-view payday from Vince McMahon because he didn't feel like it was enough. And so he went to Vince and things got real tense and he ended up either choking or punching Vince McMahon. I forget which one it is.
Knocking Vince over in his chair, choking him violently, according to Bret Hart.
That's the one. And yeah, he was fired, obviously, because he choked out the boss. I don't know if he ever got his money, but
he sued. They countersued. Thing I didn't know about him before. So before making it to WWF, he was there in 89 and then 91 and 92 with his Nails character. Before that, he was in the American Wrestling Association, the AWA. His real name is Kevin Patrick Wacholz, and the name he used in the AWA, you're never going to guess.
Well, his name is Kevin Patrick what?
Wacholz, Wacholz.
No fucking clue.
He was known as Mr. Magnificent Kevin Kelly. You know, famous announcer Kevin Kelly.
Like the conspiracy theorist?
I didn't know he was Nails. What do you want to talk about with this match? This is up there in the worst matches we've covered in this podcast.
Says so. Bossman's on the sticks. He says his job is that trash, or his job is to make sure that trash like Nails does hard time. So he admitted to the abuse, which is kind of crazy. And somehow he's a babyface. He runs down. He cuts the interview. Runs down to the ring. Nails is on the ropes, doing his low entrance and all that jazz. He jumps Nails from behind. There's like a ton of punches from. I'm just gonna go right beat by beat through this match.
Dude, go for it. There's 12 things that happen.
There's like no reason to. So this is the nightstick is on the pole. Bossman's nightstick is on a pole. We all know how pole matches work. If you don't, none of them have really ever been good. So you're not missing much. You can actually go watch the Judy Bagwell on a pole match. That's fun. So nightstick's on a pole. Nails does punches. Nails tosses Bossman from the top rope when he went to go get the nightstick. Sidebreaker. Bossman pulls Nails when he went to go get the nightstick and crotches him. They run into each other. Nightstick gets released by Bossman. He bashes Nails. Nails gets the stick. Starts
with a low blow.
With a low blow. Starts rocking Bossman with it. Bossman ducks one of the shots. Punches Nails. Hits a Bossman slam without the spin. So I don't even know what to call that because it's not an Uranagi. It's not a side slam. I don't know. It's just a slam. He just slams him.
He puts him to sleep.
He picks him up, puts him down. 1, 2, 3. Bossman wins.
Yeah.
That's it. It went like 6 minutes.
It's not
a good match. The people like went a little wild for it, which is crazy to me. What is I don't even understand the appeal of this feud. Based off of the information provided.
They didn't have other entertainment in 1992. It was hard out there.
Where is this pay-per-view?
Where is SummerSlam 92? I will let you know.
This is Survivor Series, isn't it?
Is it Survivor Series? I thought it was SummerSlam.
I could be wrong, and I will admit.
Oh no, yeah, it's Survivor Series. It's Survivor Series. My bad.
Was it 90?
92. I got it. Survivor Series.
That's Taker. No, that's not Taker's debut.
1992. Survivor Series 1992 took place in the Richfield Coliseum in Richfield Township, Ohio.
Ohio doesn't really strike me as a we're gonna back the police no matter what, brother type of state. So not really sure what to do with that information.
From 74 to 94, they were home of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Isn't that exciting?
If anybody wants to watch a fun little history thing on the Cleveland Cavaliers, watch the Chosen series why am I blanking on them? Secret Base put out, which is basically the entire history of the Cavs leading up through LeBron
fucking love
James.
Secret Base.
It's really detailed and really good. I did not know anything about the Cavs.
They have a great one on the Minnesota Vikings.
I don't want to talk about that one.
So Bossman would leave WWF. His last pay-per-view match came in the 93 Rumble, where he suffered his first clean loss on pay-per-view to another Haas, Bam Bam Bigelow. Javier's showing his Minnesota Vikings football, which is actually made to be perfect size for JJ McCarthy because he's a little boy. He left WWF shortly after a house show in Gatineau, Quebec on March 14th, 93. During the next few months, he made appearances in Japan, Australia, the USWA, SMW. On December 4th of 93, he made a one-time return to the WWF as a special guest referee to officiate the main event of a house show in Anaheim between Bret Hart and Jeff Jarrett. Bossman was expected. He was expected. Well, that's the thing is they were pretty much bringing him back. Like they were like he'd done a couple little things, and they were like, oh, okay, he's going to come back. We'll have him back in. And then instead signed to WCW and debuted as a face 15 days later.
And what was his name there, Evan?
The Boss. Like the man and the big, but just the boss.
Not, he's the boss. What is it? Springsteen? Does Springsteen go by the boss?
As an American, you should know that.
Have I ever told you about my Bruce Springsteen opinions?
I feel like you're about to.
Bruce Springsteen is like the most overrated artist I have ever heard in my life. He is just not very good. Bruce Springsteen makes music for people that black the blue, even though he himself very much does not.
He seems like a pretty cool guy.
He seems like someone I would love to have a chat with, but please do not sing. It is like Bob Dylan. I love Bob Dylan's music. One of the best songwriters we have ever seen in the history of humanity and musical culture. However, that man's voice sounds like me if I were to pick up smoking and started singing 20 years from now.
It doesn't sound like it's not the smoking thing. It's the fact that his range is really weird. It's a lot. So you have Bruce Springsteen's opinions the way I have Rod Stewart opinions.
Well, no. See, Rod Stewart, you take Bob Dylan and then you make him try to just do too much.
I hate Rod Stewart. All right, let's talk Hoss fight. Spring Stampede.
Rod Stewart and I say like this.
Have you heard Rod Stewart music before? You sound nothing like him. You sound like Eddie Vedder on cocaine.
Man, have you never seen Pop Star?
Yeah, I've seen Pop Star.
Rod Stewart pops out at the end.
Hoss fight. The boss. I'm gonna call him Big Boss Man this whole time, but he's the boss versus
the boss
versus Vader at Spring Stampede.
That's a cake boss. I knew that would break you. My whole being on this podcast is just to spew random wrestling factoids, like as far as like moves within matches, and to just try to get Evan to break.
Why do we have vending machines of Buddy Velastro's shit cakes? The appeal of Buddy Velastro's cake is that he's like, the kid likes a waterfall, so we built a fucking waterfall out of fondant. That's the appeal. Why are you buying an $8 slice of cake from a fucking vending machine outside of a Macy's? What are you doing? You're better than this.
I didn't even know this existed.
You have not seen these fucking vending machines?
No.
At airports? At major shopping malls,
First off, who the fuck is buying cake from a vending? You eat cake within like 3 days of the cake being made, or else the cake is just not as moist.
Javier, you're right on the money with all those things. You're so right, baby. You're so right. And yet,
also,
there's a vending machine of cakes.
Cake Boss, like, the way that I always got the Cake Boss thing was that the dude was just exhibit, but cakes. Instead of pimping your ride, he was giving you cool cakes.
If you look up Carlos Bake Shop vending machine, you will see these vending machines.
I would like to live the rest of my life in ignorance to these vending machine cakes. Like, you know what? If you want to get like a cinnamon roll or like a Cinnabon from a vending machine, more power to you. Because honestly, those sell like hotcakes. So you probably got
those are hot cakes, very hot cakes.
Well, they're not hot. They're in the vending machine, Evan.
This match is the best match we covered this week, and it's good.
It's all right. It's good. I wouldn't say it's good. I'd say it's all right.
Apparently, this match was set up because the Boss interfered in a Vader match and set this up. Boss is a face here. Vader is the
like
heel.
A Hell in a Cell match. Did you see that? That was a freaking massive cage. It was like him against Ric Flair or some shit. Boss Man was handcuffed to the cage and then somehow broke the handcuffs, got into the ring and started messing up Vader.
It's good stuff.
He's just the boss. I love when that happens. I love when people go from one promotion to the other during this time period, especially this, like the early to mid 90s. Because by the end of the 90s, like the like no one cared anymore. You know, the Big Show wasn't the Giant anymore, but Jericho was still just Jericho. You know, stuff like that. Eddie Guerrero was just Eddie Guerrero.
Do you know what his name was after? Because WWE sued them, or WWF sued them. It was like, hey, the boss is too close to Big Boss Man.
What?
And so, or they had legal complaints. So he was renamed
Bubba.
No, he would become Big Bubba Rogers, but for the meantime, he was known as the Guardian Angel. And he wore attire similar to the International Volunteer Organization that stops crime prevention, the Guardian Angels. He was a safety patrol. He was like Fillmore. He was a safety officer.
So my man went from a crooked corrections officer to like someone who pretty much tries their best to stop human trafficking.
Yeah. It's called a growth journey. He was on one.
Well,
In the actual
We
match,
will talk about growing.
we should talk about wrestling a little bit. So they meet on the apron. Harley Race holds back Boss Man, but Boss Man ducks and Vader ends up splashing Harley Race, who is, of course, his manager at this time. Boss Man clotheslines Vader into the ring. Vader actually tosses Boss Man into the ring again, splashes him from the entrance to the ring, and Boss Man gets the knees up. Now, Vader's ability to catapult himself over the ropes and make it to Boss Man, incredibly impressive.
Hello.
It was very impressive that he was able to do that. The like launch himself over the ropes there by Vader.
Yes, yeah.
It's cool.
Vader's a big guy, but he is an athletic guy. But however, I've seen Vader jump off of things in a really athletic way. I've never seen Vader do a running jump.
Yeah, like I've never seen him go for distance. It's always from height to ground. I've never seen him try to like long jump.
Yeah, I know. Admittedly, he almost caught his foot on the ropes, and that almost turned pretty ugly.
Yeah.
I do not envy Big Bubba Rogers, the boss over there, my man Springsteen XL, because holy shit, that is like 360 pounds just on your head top, man.
Yep. Yeah, and he gets the knees up, but even that, he's still
Unprotected, man.
very winded. Clearly,
Boss Man rams Vader into the rails at one point here. Vader does some stiff ass punches.
He's throwing boxing punches.
Nails, I'm sure, just appreciated.
It's pretty good. Like he throws straight up boxing punches. And then Bossman with a headbutt, Vader with a back body drop, or Vader then back body drops Bossman to the outside. It's lucky that Bossman grabbed the top rope, because if not, he could have landed clean on his neck.
Yeah.
It was a pretty scary looking spot.
Yeah. We get the middle rope DDT, which I just don't even have words. 300 plus pound guys, and they're doing a middle rope DDT.
Also want to acknowledge the fact that at this point, Vader's eye is totally busted open, and he is bleeding profusely from the eyeball region.
Why is it always his fucking eye?
It's always his eye. He's got it's his Achilles heel is his eyeball,
as opposed to his actual Achilles heel. Shout out to Brad Pitt. We get a top rope shoulder tackle from Big Bubba Rogers, a.k.a. the boss, a.k.a. Bruce Springsteen XL. For a near fall. We don't get many pins. They don't really pin
there's
each other.
Very few pin attempts in this match, yeah.
At one point, Bossman goes up to the top rope again right after the top rope shoulder tackle. He goes for like a splash of some kind. Vader just turns it into a power slam, doesn't go for a pin.
Nope.
He does drag his ass over, hits a Vader bomb, the splash version, not the power
splash
bomb
variety,
version.
Yeah.
For a near fall. Then he goes back up. He does a Vader salt. 1, 2, 3. Big Van Vader picks up the win.
After the match, the boss would get some heat back by getting nightstick shots to Harley Race, and Vader absolutely lays into Harley Race. And then Nick Bockwinkel comes in the ring to break it up. So
Harley was probably like, hit me.
The last match for Big Boss Man would take place in 1998. On March 30th episode of Nitro, he would lose to Bill Goldberg and then was sent home to let his contract expire. We are going to take a break. When we get back, Big Boss Man is back in the WWF. Back from the break. Traylor would rejoin WWF shortly after his WCW release and once again be the Big Boss Man. And October 12th, 1998 is when he debuted his modern look, the kind of all-black SWAT style uniform that I know I was first introduced to him to. It depends on where you were in your Attitude Era rewatch. It's probably what you saw of him first too, was probably that.
Yeah. I was going to say, you mentioned the Attitude rewatch thing, and I was like so prepared to just be when you were like, I don't know, when you first saw him, I was like, Evan, he was dead by the time I started watching wrestling.
Yeah, he was, and we'll talk about that.
So, we'll talk about that. Yeah, but yes, the SWAT gear is when I first saw him in my Attitude Era rewatch.
Yeah. He served as Vince McMahon's bodyguard during his feud with Stone Cold, feuded with DX, was part of the corporation, had a WrestleMania 15 Hell in a Cell match against The Undertaker. It's not good. And after the match, Undertaker, let me check my notes here. Yeah, hung him from the cage, killing him.
I want to know how they did that spot
There is a
safely.
full body safety harness concealed under his SWAT vest that when they hooked the noose around his neck, the back of the
Yeah.
noose was hooked to the harness instead. So it would actually
Okay.
stayed here. And to make it look realistic, if you watch it, you can see him have his neck down. Yeah.
That would have been a
Still.
terror. If that harness does not work,
Mm-hmm. Then
ugh.
Edge, Christian, and Gangrel kill a man on live TV. Actually, on pay-per-view, not even live TV. So they then played a video package of the quote WrestleMania Rage Party end quote, and was taken safely down onto a stretcher so he could get to the hospital with just minor injuries. He then goes into some feuds with Al Snow. So let's talk about the feud with Al Snow. He won the title,
We
the
have
Hardcore
to.
Championship. Yeah, we do, because that's one of the promos we're covering. Won the Hardcore Championship from Al Snow at Fully Loaded. And then 1 month later, the two had a Falls Count Anywhere match, spilled into the backstage area, and finally into a bar. Earlier in the match, or before the match, Al Snow had set his dog Pepper's pet carrier near the entranceway. Bossman picked it up, taunted Pepper, struck Snow with the carrier, and carelessly tossed it behind him. So this feud's about the Hardcore title, but it's also about Pepper. So let's
Poor
flash
Pepper.
forward to September 2nd, 1999. It's SmackDown, and we are told that the Bossman confronts Al Snow the week before. He'd stolen Pepper from him, and he said, "Look, I'm sorry. I had a dog once. I really apologize. I want to make it up to you. Meet me at my hotel room on Thursday, and I'll give you back Pepper." So we're going to
Gaslighting.
talk about that. Bossman tells, so Al Snow gets there, and we're in this.
Hey, he's in his hotel room.
We're in the default hotel room. I've never seen a
By
more
the way,
default
Michael
looking hotel
Cole
room.
said that it's a happy reunion.
They also said they had not seen the footage yet, so I will give them credit for that. Al Snow is breaking the fourth wall. He is calling him Ray. He is not keeping up with kayfabe at all. He's like, Ray, what's going on? And Bossman says, Pepper's at the groomers. Al Snow says, the dog doesn't have any hair.
It's true. It's just a Chihuahua.
It's a Chihuahua. What, you don't call it Chihuahua?
No, because I'm Latino.
No, that's the Marine. That's the Marine dog. Chihuahua. Yeah.
Okay, just go right over
Question everything about your life that brought you to this point with me. Think about
it. Just go right. Just get it roll right by that one. A boss man starts to get. He opens up a bowl. He offers what
platter.
Are those things?
He's got the platter.
Platter. He opens up a platter. There's food there. There's a plate. He starts serving Al Snow some food. He says, "Just eat up." I told the groomer's on his way with the dog. Snow starts eating. You can't really make out what it is. It kind of looks like a casserole.
It kind of looks like beef and broccoli. There's clearly like noodles and stuff on it. So
I couldn't really make anything out. It looked like a casserole to me. I don't even know what a casserole fully is. I'm not going to be.
Don't worry about it. It's some white people nonsense.
He starts asking how it tastes.
He says, "Tastes all right. It tastes pretty good."
Just try not to get one of them paws stuck in your teeth.
That's right, Al. 100% grade A pepper. You don't like the way pepper tastes? Al Snow obviously throws up because he's eating his dog.
And then he gets his ass beat by the goddamn tray.
Yeah, Bossman beats the crap out of him with a tray.
He starts yelling at him about Pepper and saying like that he is hardcore. I don't know if Al Snow ever like questioned the hardcoreness of the boss over here, but this is starting to get a little ridiculous. He says he is hardcore. Pepper is a little bastard, and you're a done son of a bitch. That's what hardcore is all about. This is like the one person that's like you remember the wild card episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where everyone's just having a good time, and then Charlie comes through and takes it a little too far and freaking cuts the brakes.
Yeah,
like he took what hardcore is and made it he took it to a whole other level.
I like that the context of a hardcore match in the hardcore division in WWF obviously is the matches are allowed to be had with no, like usually Falls Can Count Anywhere, but also like there's weapons allowed. And Big Boss Man's like, hardcore means I commit heinous atrocities. I feed a man his own dog. I had to check the
Animal
stats too
cruelty.
and the dates to see if this came before the Scott Tenorman episode of South Park. Have you seen the Scott Tenorman episode of South Park?
Oh, your tears stay so good.
Salty sweet Scott. Yeah, so that's when Eric Cartman makes a kid eat his own parents.
Yup.
So clearly, Eric Cartman's favorite wrestler is Big Boss Man. That's his inspiration. Also, Boss Man takes a bite.
Why he hated Scott? It's been so long since I've seen that episode.
I think Scott makes him eat something with pubes in it.
Oh, it was. He made him eat something with pubes in it.
Yeah. And so he
exactly
kills he doesn't kill his parents. He has his parents killed and then chops them up and turns them into chili.
Yes, he sends them to like some ranch and then the rancher killed them. And then somebody made them into chili. I don't know if it was him or not, but
Cartman turned him into chili.
That's okay.
Big Boss Man has a bite of pepper and says it tastes like chicken. Oh, Nelly. Now
we're just gonna skate right through that.
Obviously, we need to get to a very intense blow-off match for this feud.
And it could only happen one way. It could only happen one way, Evan.
We're covering one of the worst matches of all time. It is Big Boss Man versus Al Snow for the hardcore title at Unforgiven 1999 in a Kennel from Hell match. The match consists of a steel cage surrounded by the Hell in a Cell cage.
The blue steel cage,
surrounded by a Hell in a Cell cage with dogs around the ring, Rottweilers. And so, where do you want to start with this?
So the whole purpose of this match is you escape the blue cage, and then you have to escape the Hell in a Cell. By the way, this is that pay-per-view with the 6-pack Hell in a Cell match for the world title, right?
No.
Is this not?
I believe it is not, because I believe that is Armageddon.
Yes. My life, there's...
So there's the 6-pack challenge here, like this episode or this pay-per-view, but it's not the Hell in a Cell one. It's the one with Triple H, Big Show, British Bulldog, Kane, Mankind, and The Rock. The only Hell in a Cell match of sort on the card is this one.
Good Lord. Snow won't let Boss Man into the cage. So he just starts like beating his ass. So it's weird. He's like using like a trash can lid to not let him into the cage, which is weird because at this point the dogs are still not out there. I don't think.
That's right. No, they're not.
Because my next notes are just where are the dogs, and then here are the dogs. So the dogs have handlers, obviously. These are trained dogs.
Yeah.
And as soon as the dogs show up, cue the freaking jokes from Lawler and Jim Ross, even though they are very much protected on the other side of the cage.
The dogs look nice.
These look like nice dogs.
They look friendly.
They're very well trained. They're just barking, and I'm pretty sure they're like commanded to.
Yeah, I would also be barking too if you brought me into this arena. If you brought me to, what city are we in again? If you brought me to Charlotte, North Carolina, I'm going to be barking too.
Why are you going to bark in Charlotte, North Carolina, man?
I don't know. Seems like a cool place to bark. Bark, bark, baby.
You're that distressed from watching the Hornets?
Yes, that's and the Panthers.
Boss Man is just stuck hanging on the cage at one point because Snow has a trash can lid and the dogs are just barking on the other side.
Yeah. If you don't know, during this match, the Rottweilers essentially are not vicious at all, and they just piss all over the ringside area.
Do they actually?
Yeah. You can't really see it in the way in the clip, but from all accounts and purposes, they just, some of them peed.
I like that. Mark that territory. The dogs are just barking at each other.
Yeah. It's bad, man. This is even the crowd's like, "What the fuck are we watching?"
Handing over to the dogs, and the dogs are just barking. Boss Man suplexes Snow off the cage. He rammed Snow off the cage a few times.
Mm-hmm.
And then King says like one of the only good lines I've ever heard King say, where he goes, "The dog's favorite bone is in my leg," which is not a penis joke. He's talking about the dog chewing on his leg.
The thing about this match is that When you watch a Hell in a Cell match, it's hard to watch because there's an obstruction in your way, right?
Yeah.
If you're the live crowd. And when you watch it,
If you're a live crowd, yeah.
when you watch a cage match, it's hard to watch because there's an obstruction in your way,
No,
right?
not the blue cage. Not the blue cage.
But if you double up, they don't cancel out, they multiply in terms of shittiness. And so these fans are they're like, we hear dogs and we can't see shit.
It's great.
Do you think they booked this match because they kept getting fucking preempted by the Westminster Dog Show?
Probably. Honestly. Probably. Bossman absolutely guns Snow in the head with multiple unprotected tray shots.
Yeah, like the sheet pan. Yeah.
And he is busted wide open. At one point, Bossman gets hits Snow with a right hand, and I didn't notice this at the time, but he had pliers in them.
Yes, because then he goes up, and his plan to avoid the not vicious dogs is to clip the top of the cell, climb up and out and down. That is his master plan.
Okay.
So he's gonna do that. He opens up the top of the cell.
He's got Coke in his hand.
So we'll get to the Coke in a second. He gets cracked with a stick by Snow. Al Snow has a stick for some fucking reason.
Well, it's the other end of the shovel.
That makes sense. Bossman then uses pliers on Snow's ear. Bossman then plants cocaine on Al Snow. Just kidding. He has powder in his hand.
He did that to Nails.
And Snow knocks it back in his face. And all my notes say is, Al Snow is a great name for cocaine. Like, you want to go hang out with Al Snow?
I just wish that is what they would have named Blind Al from the Deadpool universe. Just full named Al Snow.
The human body has 206 bones in it. 207 when I'm watching Gossip Girl. What a great opening line.
What a great opening period.
Snow hits Bossman in the back with a snow shovel. Just the end part, not the rest of it. The dogs are doing...
part, not the stick.
The dogs are doing nothing because they're afraid because there's 15,000 people here and they're in an unfamiliar environment and they want to.
And they're in a cage.
Bad. Snow tries to get the dogs to bite Bossman's hands. The dogs are in no way interested.
Yes, just no interest. I don't know if the spot even was supposed to be that they actually bite him or not.
That's what they were. That's clearly what they were going for. Was put the hand out there and have them bite. The dogs yell at each other. That's all that's happening here. The dogs are just talking to one another.
Did not happen at all. A Bossman handcuffs Snow to the top rope.
Yeah.
And he goes to climb out of the top of the cell. Snow breaks free, forces Bossman to fall. He crotches himself on the rope in a way that looked nasty.
Yeah.
Then we get some head.
Head is here. Head hits Bossman. Then Snow is over the cage on one side. Bossman's going on the other side through the hole that he made. They're racing. Al Snow makes it out of the cage because he was able to brave the very not scary dogs.
He just fell right in front of the door and then just walked out.
Yeah, the easiest way to win this fucking match. Meanwhile, Bossman's on top of the cell being like, I remember when I got hung from this. What a fucking time.
Men will literally do anything except go to therapy.
Except you're not.
That's what I got from this.
Wrong. Yeah, so I believe if my timing is right, this means that Bossman had 2 separate Hell in a Cell related matches in a calendar year, and in one he died, and in the other it was one of the worst matches of all time.
Well, I would say that both of them are some of the worst Hell in a Cell matches of all time.
Normally, we only cover one promo. Not this week.
This week got real absurd over a year period with Bossman.
So a couple months later, Big Bossman is feuding with the Big Show over the WWF Championship. Bossman goes directly from this feud from Al Snow into a feud with Big Show. And so in kayfabe, Big Show's dad dies. And so Big Bossman decides to show up to the funeral.
Didn't his dad actually die though during this time period?
I don't know, but obviously it wasn't the time.
Well, I think it was obviously it wasn't then, but I think his father had passed within a couple years before that, right?
It passed years before the angle.
Yeah. So it was it's also why you think of this, Vince? What made you want to do this angle? this makes no sense.
Yeah, he had passed prior to 1999. So,
Yeah.
anyways, in kayfabe, Big Show is completely dripped out at his dad's funeral. I don't think we talk about that enough. Leather pants, leather jacket, glasses that are way too small for his face, and this is the beginning of a Wachowski flick. This is crazy.
So, I guess it kind of peeked through the curtain, behind the curtain here,
Sure.
into my life. So I guess you could say technically my stepbrother passed away like 2 years ago, like October 2 years ago, and I swear yes, it's sad and all that stuff, but like this leads somewhere. Uh, so I get to we had the funeral service, and then there's the service, and then the funeral thing that leads to there's the wake. Sorry, but there was the wake, and then this is the first like death I've ever had in my life, really. So I'd never had to go to a wake or a funeral or anything like that. And so I didn't know like what the protocol was, and I didn't really want to ask my dad, like, hey, what do I wear or anything like that. So I'm like, all right, it's a funeral. You just wear a suit and or all black or whatever. You show up, right? And I do that. I'm in like a real nice black suit. I even put a black button up underneath. I'm like, I'm just going full black because that's what you do at a funeral. Show up. The amount of Mac Jones Patriots jerseys at this goddamn funeral, because I guess the thing was my stepbrother was a really big Patriots fan. I didn't know him like super well because my dad and my stepmom got together like within the last 6 years, and he spent a lot of that time down in Charlotte, oddly enough. So like this happens. I show up, everyone's wearing a fucking Patriots jersey. I'm just there in a goddamn all black suit, and I'm like, why am I the only person dripped the fuck out at this goddamn funeral right now?
You're just like Big Show, for real. Just
so yeah,
the immaculate drip.
That's how we wrapped out the bow on that story.
He says the Big Show says, "You're a good man. Everything I learned in life, I learned from you." Boss Man shows up at the cemetery in a cop car with the world's largest speaker on top.
Bro's just got the old school fucking, what is it? Lincoln Navigator? Not Navigator. Lincoln some or Buick some? I don't even know what these goddamn old cop cars used to be. But it's fucking hilarious. He's got the biggest speaker I've ever seen in my life. Like the Eras tour didn't even have speakers this damn big.
He talks about how his daddy's not coming back. And he says, "Listen, big man, I want to pay my respects, so listen to your mama. Speaking of your mama, Miss White, now that you're a single woman, would you like to go out with a man like me?" This man is Chaz Michaels. He's going to funerals to pick up chicks. Ma, the meatloaf, fuck. He's just sitting there being like, grief is a powerful aphrodisiac.
It's weird that Will Smith has been in two separate, honestly, within like a 2 or 3 year span. He was in 2 movies with funeral things that were fucking hilarious. Because in Old School, when Blue dies, he's just over there singing Kansas.
Will Ferrell.
What'd I say?
Will Smith. And I thought you were gonna make it like someone's gonna get a slap joke or something.
Not the one. No, I meant the.
What's the other funny funeral that Will Ferrell's a part of?
When he's Chaz Michaels and he's picking up people at funerals.
Oh right, yes. I
just said it. You literally just said it.
Man, it's hot
today.
I'm
tired, guys.
I am tired. I'm tired.
Jesus Christ. He basically tells Show like, unless you wanna be 6 feet deep, listen to your mama.
Yeah, and then he says he wants to fuck his mom.
He said he wants to fuck his mom, and then Show climbs on his car and he drives off. So Show takes a bump. Everyone in the funeral service rushes over to Show to help him out. In the meantime, he goes. Our boss man pulls up to the casket. Evan, I know you have it written down. Go ahead.
I don't. Go for it.
Oh, you don't? He's I know your daddy always wanted to be a drag queen. So I'm about to drag him. I'm about to show him what dragons like. And he ties some chains around the casket, which connect to the car. And then he just pulls out Big Show pulls up, gets up, runs over, gets on the casket, and gets dragged with the casket until he takes one of the most comical bumps I have ever seen a wrestler take. Just right off, slips right off the casket and rolls in a funny ass way, especially for a man who is 7 feet, 300 plus pounds. It is fucking hilarious.
What's
And
the
then that's
end
just it.
game?
It just fades to black.
What's the end game? So, like, canonically, Big Boss Man has Big Show's dad's body. What's the end goal for he's like, I'm just gonna turn. Is he gonna turn this into Chinese food too? Because like he already did it with a dog. He's just like, I'll turn anything into Chinese food. Like Big Boss Man just is like a
Refeed it, yeah.
culinary
Also,
masterpiece.
are we sure he's not just Hannibal Lecter at this point, and he's just over here eating shit?
I do love that near the end of his like essentially the end of his like main singles run. Like this is his big shot essentially in the 90s. They're just like, you're gonna be a psychopath.
You're going to kill things, and
your gimmick is going way too far.
oh, like way too far.
Big Boss Man became the #1 contender to the WWF Championship by defeating The Rock on an episode of Raw on November 15, 1999, and would lose at Armageddon to The Big Show, who was defending the title. After this, Big Boss Man does not commit any more hate crimes or atrocities that we see on air. Instead,
were they on Jacked?
They were on Jacked. No, he would do things like have a partnership with your boy, Bull Buchanan.
No, he didn't. I don't believe that. I know you did, but no, he didn't.
In my mind, the Bull Buchanan partnership lasts a year. In real life,
it was like 2 months, wasn't it?
It was 3 months.
Yeah.
I felt like it would lasted forever, but alas,
no, because well, look at the time period that we're in. We like pretty quickly pivoted to Right to Censor.
Yeah. He did some tag teams. So before Bull Buchanan, he was tag teams with Albert. After that, he was kind of taken off the Invasion. Like he wasn't part of the Invasion storyline. Returned and formed a team with Booker T in December 2001. He was part of a team with Booker T for a while.
I'm sorry, you said fucking what?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you. If you had asked me what happened to Big Boss Man after like March of 2000, I would have been like, yeah, he got fired.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was there in 2001.
Yeah, like he was. Vince McMahon ordered him to be Booker T's enforcer, and so like part of the feud between Booker and Stone Cold Steve Austin, Boss Man was like a tertiary player in that. Then he also in April of 2002 had a short-lived tag team with Mr. Perfect.
I'm fucking sorry.
They didn't know what to do with this man. There was a thing
2002?
where yeah, he lost on an episode. He lost his final WWE match in May of 2002. He lost his final WWE match to Tommy Dreamer. He then was assigned to train developmental wrestlers in OVW. He wrestled one match in OVW. That match was him teaming with Charlie Haas and John Cena to face Lance Cade, Sean O'Haire, and Rene Dupree.
I got two of my boys in that motherfucker.
He was released from WWE in 2003, took a nearly 2-year hiatus. After leaving WWE, he became inactive in wrestling for a while, did a couple of other matches, and then, as we know, unfortunately passed away in September of 2004 at his home in Dallas, Georgia.
Oh.
He was visiting with his sister at his home, and then his two daughters went upstairs to play, and his wife Angela left the room, and when she came back, had found him passed away on the sofa, and he was posthumously inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2016.
That's tough, man.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, especially like so young, only being 41 years old. That's
what was it? It was a heart attack?
It was a heart attack at 41.
At 41?
Yeah, man. That's tough.
Damn.
Yeah. It's sad. It's sad, man. What do you think? Going back, I don't think we've had somebody with such a wild and varied career in a long time.
Here's the thing. Like as a wrestler, the drizzling shits. Like it's just not a very like if you're in a match with the Big Boss Man, the best case scenario for you quality wise is me saying it's all right.
Yeah, like he's playing
Sorry,
a
not
very
the drizzling shits, just shit.
he's playing a very particular role. That's like
Like, he's just
that's
not
what he
that
can
good
do.
of a wrestler. Like, it's, and
Yeah.
that's okay because he's a big body, and it wasn't a time period where work rate really mattered as much. I'm happy
No.
that he had that clash with Vader because honestly, that was an okay match.
That's pretty
It was
good.
all
And
right.
honestly, as much as we hate Hogan matches, that Hogan match was fine,
Crazy spot.
especially for
Might have been the spot of Hogan's career.
or late 80s Hogan wrestling. That was pretty good.
Yeah, that was all right. It was solid.
Yeah.
And then just all right. So that's him as a wrestler. As a performer,
Good.
motherfucker, this guy is great.
Yeah.
You do not like. You do you realize how many psychotic people would have been able to play that psychotic motherfucker in '99? Not many.
Yeah.
Just not many people would have been able to do that and pull it off in a way that he did. Um, and yeah, there's a ceiling on that, and he absolutely reached it as a performer. He was never going to get pushed to that main event level, truly, uh, because let's be honest, like it's just Big Boss Man, you know,
Yeah.
like. So like it's I think for as far as his career goes and what he was able to accomplish, he did a damn good job. The guy main evented for the title against Hulk Hogan in the '80s in a cage match, and also a decade plus later had a main event title program against the Big Show. Like that is really impressive for what it is.
Ignore the fact that it was the worst feud of the year for 99 from the Wrestling
It is
Observer newsletter.
impressive for what it is. I didn't say it was good.
He
I
has
said it
such
was
a
impressive for what it is.
varied Wrestling Observer newsletter award thing because he has
Go ahead.
most improved in 1987. He has best gimmick in 1996 as part of the NWO. So it's not really his. He just gets it though because he's part of NWO.
Okay.
Is part of the feud of the year because he's part of NWO versus WCW. It's like that's cool. He's a part of it.
I didn't even know he was an NWO guy.
In 96, he also has worst feud of the year with John Tenta. In 99, has worst feud of the year with Big Show. And in 99, also has worst worked match of the year, obviously, against Al Snow in
Yep.
the Kennel from Hell. I like to go back and look at the career of Big Boss Man. He's always somebody who was there and present, especially when I got into wrestling. So to be able to see kind of the whole origin story, learn about him in Jim Crockett Promotions and kind of the way he bounced back and forth between WWF and WCW, it was interesting.
It was entertaining. I will say for like, I'm a big work rate guy, but I'm also for as much as I love my work rate, I love my crazy, wacky things in wrestling. And he was on that extreme of it.
It's true. It's pretty good. Now, next week, let's do the housekeeping stuff and then we'll get to next week. So, housekeeping stuff, you should follow us on social media. You should follow Javier wherever he tells you right now.
I'm on the Twitter machine at JMello Sports.
Follow me on the Twitter machine at It's Evan Gomes, ITSEVANGOMES. Follow the podcast, most importantly, on Twitter and on Instagram at Crossbody of Work. If you're not subscribed to the videos here on YouTube, hit subscribe. If you're not watching on YouTube, go to YouTube at Crossbody of Work. Subscribe to us there. We got lots of extra content, lots of throwback episodes, lots of other cool stuff. Hit like, hit subscribe. Throw something in the comments. Tell us how much you love the Kennel from Hell match, whatever. Throw it in the comments. It helps us with the algorithm and the engagement. Also,
tell us what your favorite food is. If you've had dog, does it taste like chicken? Also, what's wrong with you?
What's the weirdest meat you've had? Mine's alligator.
Is alligator weirder than shark?
No. I'd say they're a similar tier.
I've had both, so
alligator was good, at least when I had it.
I'm not gonna lie to you, I kind of liked it.
It's pretty good.
Shark was
tough.
Pretty gamey, but it was a burger. So
shark burger. Ooh ha
ha. Dad.
Now, make sure you continue to follow us during Haas Month. Next week, we have a very special all Haas episode. And the thing is, it's not one particular wrestler. We're looking at 6 different matches from wrestling history that involve a Haas. I will list for you the Haas's involved. Uncle Elmer, King Kong Bundy, Giant Gonzalez versus Undertaker, The Oddities. We're getting Kurgan and Golga, baby. Akibono versus Big Show in the sumo match. We're getting Bobby Lashley versus Viscera, and we're getting a little international flavor from a recent one of Jonah Rock, a.k.a. the newly heated up Bronson Reed versus Brian Cage.
Oh, I thought that was going to be Bad Luck Fale for some
There's
reason.
a lot of beef coming next week. Good beef and bad beef, because at least we're gonna finish with a really good match, and
Yeah.
we're gonna have some. We're also having the Oddities versus Kai and Tai, so there's gonna be a lot of variations. We're gonna kind of see the Hosses through history. I'm very excited.
We're going to have a good time with work rate, and we're going to have a good time on the other end of the spectrum. It's like I
We
said,
finally
Evan.
get to talk about the Oddities. I'm so excited.
I fucking love Kurgan.
Kurgan. All right, it's time for everyone's favorite part of the podcast. Javier, any final words for the people?
This week on Life Advice with Javier. So I live in a condo. I don't own the condo, but I live in one. And they like have people like coming to clean the air conditioner. It's right here. This thing.
Yeah.
And my life advice this week is everybody make sure you clean your air conditioners.
Yes.
We're heading towards we're in the beginning of August. I know
You
that
probably had that thing on for a while.
I know that you've had that motherfucking thing on. Make sure you're cleaning it. I'm talking filters. I'm talking getting those ducts clean there. It's really important. You don't want to like fuck around with like dust and all that other jazz. It could really cause some breathing issues later on. Even if you're not allergic to dust, just in general, that's just not good for your lungs and stuff. So make sure you're getting that cleaned. Especially if you're someone that has central air, make sure you're getting your ducts clean, your vents, all that stuff. You really want to make sure nothing's going on, because your central air may be AC now. It's going to turn into heater later, and that's also just going to get blown out of there. So you're getting year-round dust and gunk and all that stuff in there coming around and out. Make sure you're getting that cleaned.
That is sound advice. I love any of this. Just sound advice.
Hey, man, sometimes you just got to give some dad advice over here. I'm not a father. I have a cat, but I'm not a father. So just you sometimes you gotta get the bootstraps all locked in so you can get out there and get to work.
Get to work. I'm gonna get to going to buy a Blizzard because it's Miracle Treat Day and the day we're recording this. So your boy wants a Blizzard for a good cause. That's the plan.
I don't even know where there's a Dairy Queen around here.
There's one like 6 minutes from my house, so I'm about to go drive there and grab a Blizzard with the wife. All right. Thank you so much for listening this week. We will be back next week to talk about Hosses through history. We'll talk to you then.